Oof. It's a late night. I forgot to turn off repeat on the intro. Happy Tuesday morning to you, Dave. Tony is playing chaperone right now. He's probably at the Smithsonian, or maybe doing a lap around the Lincoln Memorial. I think he's on a field trip with the young ones.
Just you and I today.
How long? How many years do we have before you're doing chaperone duty at this on field trips?
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna go by so fast.
Oh man. He's already 13 months. It's crazy.
It is a little while. Wow, 13 months? Really? Well, here's a strategy you might want to make sure that you employ. I wanted to bring this in from the interwebs. Apparently, there's a TikTok trend called adult tummy time. It's a thing. And apparently, it says, here's why physical therapists like it. I love how one person gets to speak for all of us. But they're talking about this is now a TikTok trend going on, and the idea is it's to combat tech neck, which I'm not sure how many tech neck. How many cases of tech neck are you seeing?
Yeah, a lot. And that adult tummy time is basically like a McKenzie extension bias. So I'm all for it. I mean, there's too many people that are sitting too much and slouched and all that. So if they're last night I do the things that are in these articles, right? Last night we're watching the Knicks versus oh my god, who did I play?
Celtics came back. They won.
The Knicks and Celtics last night, and I'm doing mobility on the living room floor, and I was literally prone on elbows watching the game. So what this is talking about, actually, like I do, but not everyone does it. I'm not saying like I'm a glowing citizen by any means, but like in terms of mobility and stuff, like I'm getting my tummy time. Absolutely.
Just good spinal health. So this is good. So I wanted to bring that in from TikTok. All right. What do you want to talk about first? Do you want me to talk about my personalized podcast pitch that I use that I thought we could also spin and use for clinics?
Let's do that. The video that you sent about Dutch Rojas, is that kind of the theme of it, or is it different?
Yeah, it was a similar. So I'll just bring that video up. I'll hit play. I don't have to play the audio, but the idea was I was sitting around and I was looking at some different podcast guests, and I was like, who have I wanted to get on the show, and maybe a cold DM or an email, because maybe I know them. We're connected on LinkedIn, but I don't know them. Tony had given me a challenge a while ago, like start swinging for the fences. Like, what are the odds someone like Alex Hormozy or Seth Godin comes on your show? Pretty small, but if they did, that would be like a complete steal. But they're not going to come on your show unless you ask them. So I created this like personalized video. I was cruising on LinkedIn. I saw this guy, and you follow Dutch Rojas, right? He's sort of this like healthcare guy who just loves spitting fire and bringing facts and spreadsheets and using data, and just sort of like, I don't know about like just like a lot of people will bitch about healthcare. Dutch is actually just bringing like receipts and being like, hey, why don't we do like this? How come we're not doing like that? So he's got some really great ideas. And I was like, he'd be a killer guest. Maybe I'll DM him. And then I'm like, I'm not a creative writer. Well, I'll just use text to speech or I'll use AI, right? But I'm like, I don't know. That feels like everyone's going to do that. Here's something anybody could do that I felt more personal. So I sort of looked up a little bit about him. I wrote a little bit of an outline. I used an app to edit a video, and then I just talked into my phone. This is on one take. I was like, listen, you're great. I think you've got some really good views. I'd love to have you on our podcast. Let's go. I did share this publicly though, because we're friends on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's a place for business, and we're talking about the healthcare business. So I shared it publicly, and I was just like, listen, I'd love to have you on a podcast hosted by a former radio DJ. Oh yeah, that's me. Let's do this. And the cool thing was, Dave included and a couple of other people chimed in. Oh, I'd see that. Oh, that'd be cool. So doing it in public allowed me to sort of say like, hey, look, I've got, a little bit of street cred. A couple people would love to hear you on the show. Would like to join? An hour or two later, actually under your comment, he dropped an email address. I fired that out and said, all right, let's book you on the show. And it worked. So that's cool if you have a podcast, but this show is like for people who own PT practices or healthcare practices. How could you use this? I don't think I would use it in public. Like, I don't think I would just like start posting on people's or sliding into people's DMs unless they were former patients. So I wanted to take the same tactic. And I was like, I don't know. What if you made like a 30-second video and just looked into the camera and said, how you been? Anything we can help with? Do you know anybody that, might need our services? Anything.
Boom.
Make it personal, and then slide that into an email or a DM if you follow them on socials. Is that too weird?
I was just going to ask. So we've done either automated or manual text messages or emails to reactivate previous patients. So we also will use things like the holiday cards, right? So like we'll send a holiday card and it'll be like my family and I on it. It won't be too like corporate-y. Those are reminders that we still exist. And if they have any aches or pains or whatever, like, hey, like you could contact us and reactivate, get an evaluation, continue treatment for a new thing, old thing, whatever it might be. So we've done your video that you're talking about to reach out to previous patients. You're talking about reactivations. So we've done automated text, automated emails, manual text, manual emails. We've done the physical postcards, which is kind of like Goodwill. Now we got the baby, and so we're gonna get him in there, of course, and like that helps with just like less corporate-y, more like familial, like relational feel. So you're talking about sending a video like this manually or mentioning the person by name, and maybe not. Maybe we could do it not by name, and you just record it once and you send it to previous people. I think some people in the New York City area might think it's maybe too much, but I think it could work. I think it could work. I would love to hear Tony's insight on this maybe next week when he comes back, but I think it's a nice touch. And whether it's the actual physical therapist speaking into the camera, if it's the front desk person, whoever's like the most bubbly, should probably do it. But if you're a patient who had back pain and then now you're doing pretty good on your own, and then you get this video from your physical therapy practice where you were receiving treatment, I think it can, for the most part, continue to build goodwill. And the best part that you've even mentioned this entire time was you're reaching out to them. Hey, how's it going? Are you 100%? Are you doing well? Just, we thought of you, just wanted to send this video, instead of like a cold text message or an email. But then you also said asking for like reviews or referrals, which is, this is covering all the bases. It's like, hey, we're checking on you. How are you doing? Are you 100%? If not, like, hey, let's get you back in. If you are 100%, wonderful. Yeah. Who might that would benefit from our services the way that you benefited from our services?
I like doing it with whoever they saw. I don't know. Like, I feel like if they saw you and you were their PT, like I love the idea of the front desk person. And some places do have that person who's sort of an icon. And most places have like, in the middle of the bell curve, they have places who are super nice. Hey, saw you 6 months ago. How's it going? How'd that race turn out? I mean, I was taught like the smart healthcare providers will put notes in, right, about favorite sports teams, kids field trips, things like that.
The dog's name, the cat and dog's name.
Bingo. How's Scruffaluffagus? Doing? Doing well? Doing good? Why don't you bring him by? I got a treat for him, I was thinking along the lines of, again, when Tony had sort of challenged me, I think it was a year ago. And the prompt from Tony a year ago, and this is podcast related, but I'm twisting it back to a practice. The podcast idea was take my top 20 guests that I could never get and build a website for each of them on my site and explain to the world who that person is, right, with a picture of them. And here's why I'd want them on my show, right? And then figure out how to reach that person 10 different ways. And then have that website be sort of like the call to action. Like, this is why I want you, not because you're famous, but because I think you could really bring some insight. And then one of the lines from Alex Hormozy, I don't know why it's resonating with me. Probably because I work in tech sales now or tech partnerships, which is like, if you're embarrassed about reaching out, like you're going to be hungry. Like if you're starting out on zero and you're not doing anything, some great advice from a former boss at a radio station. Again, it's applicable to pretty much anything if you have a business. I started at a radio station in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre, and the radio station was established, but my program director, Chris Lloyd, was like, here's what we have. We have no budget. None, not $1 for promotion. We have a vehicle that's wrapped with our logo on it. We can use as much gas as we want because we have a gas card, and we have a photocopier. We can make as many photocopies as we want with as many different colored papers we want.
Flyers.
So we made like but of course we didn't, we made like funny Beastie Boys sabotage flavored flyers or whatever. Like we made up fake commercials or something like that. And then we're just like, we don't care. We're like, motion creates emotion. And I feel like picking up your phone and texting someone is a thing to do. I felt like that video for me, because it fits my personality. Tony, we talked about this in a previous episode. Tony's like, I'm not going to the Better Business Bureau and shaking hands for 2 hours. Not my jam. It's not his jam. Good. Don't do that.
He doesn't need to do it anymore.
Doesn't need to, but he did do other things. Like Tony's idea, and I keep seeing people pop up, where you accompany a patient to a follow-up video with their physician after that physician referred him to you. That's like Taylor Swift playing someone's wedding because they asked. Well, she's not doing it every day. Tony wasn't doing that for every patient, but doing it for a few could resonate for years. And I've seen people I've been caught in threads where people are like, I did that. And oh my God, it was amazing. So I think this whole theme would really be personalized touch. And how can you make it personalized in a mass text message sort of world? And I think that resonates. I think it's different. I think this is why bell bottoms come in and then they go out again because everyone's doing it. And when everyone's doing it, it gets old. Do the other thing. So I don't know. I feel like that's a way to separate yourself.
The best way to truly separate yourself and to do things that don't scale would be to say things like you're making a video per person, which it takes more effort. It takes more effort for that video to be uploaded or to be sent or whatever. But if I'm going to send Jimmy McKay a video, I'm going to mention, I don't know, I'll mention podcast. I'll mention, Jimmy, I know you're in a men's ice hockey league. You just posted a story the other day with like the cage, the mask on that you had, your helmet and mask. Like I would mention those things so that you knew it was not a canned message. Correct. You knew it was completely made for you, just like the video you made for Dutch Rojas. It was completely for him. Extremely well done. You hit on all the great points. Like he can't say no to come on. Like
right.
And like I said to you and Tony and messaging.
I sort of did it in public too. So now he's sort of like, all right, we got to do it. Now I want to wow the hell out of him when he shows up. So he's like, okay, this was a good idea.
And you will.
Because then you got a friend for life. Here's something I was trying to figure out this morning. You're mentioning I posted a story. I was playing men's beer hockey last night. We lost, by the way. I know. And it was until like 1:00 in the morning. But we're talking about this personalization. I got a DM in LinkedIn from the Gains Gods, an Instagram account. Never heard of them. They made a comment on my post of my story. And it said, from the rink to the mic, passion, grit, and a dash of chaos, beer league hockey vibes and podcast wisdom coming at you. And I was like, hold on a minute.
And there's no ask. They're not even asking for anything. They're not even saying, hey.
And then in my comments on a previous post from the Gain Gods, who have more than 100,000 followers on Instagram, only Pintcast can go from beer league intensity to dropping life lessons on selflessness in the same breath. Love the range. Talk about a growth strategy. 2 comments, right? That were both personalized.
Long-term.
Now, look, at worst,
are they actually trying to build rapport? And like, this is how you build a relationship. Wow. Who would have thought?
Like, at no point did they say, follow me for whatever, or like, that's the best part. If they had done that, I would have been like, I'm out. All they did was drop 2 comments. Here's the thing. At worst, I've got to go to who the Gain Gods are. 136,000 followers. And I'm like, you know what? You earned my attention. I love these 2 phrases, right? Pay attention, spend time. You earned it. I had to give you 5 seconds to check out who you were, right? The Gain Gods. They're all about making videos for people you probably watch anyway. Teaching agencies to scale to $20,000 a month. Well, it works though. Like,
could you be a client? You could be a client for them. That they're gonna slowly build some rapport, and maybe you'll pay them for their service eventually. That's would you say that that's the ultimate? Like, what's in it for them?
Yes. and you know that it's repeatable, right? Or they've paid someone to do this over and over and over and over again, right? Like they're doing the quick research.
Yeah,
And
but
they're
they,
copy
they
pasting.
connected you. They connected you with podcasts and ice hockey, and that takes a little more
A little bit of
understanding. You
time.
can't outsource that to someone, in another country to do a VA to do that. I mean, maybe, but you got to have a little insight into like I'm reaching out to
Correct.
this dude Jimmy McKay, and I'm
What
connecting
do I
his
say?
range of podcasting and this ice hockey thing, which was only a 24-hour story that you're posting.
Correct. I don't talk about ice hockey 99.999% of the time. It was
Right.
just that story. So look at it this way. What would you said? What would the ultimate goal? Well, the ultimate goal is if they're like an agency, they want a client, and every one of those clients is going to be worth a lot of money to them.
Right.
That's valuable. But the steps, right? So I love using this parallel of dating. So the step was not I'm going to message and get married to Jimmy. That's too big of a leap.
Of course.
Right?
No, it's
So the first one is I'm going to read it and go, who is this? This is a pickup line. A pickup line should be funny and intriguing and make you want to be like, okay, you got 8 seconds. I'm going to give you 8 more seconds. So
you're leaning in. You clicked on the profile. You're leaning
correct. Lean in. All right. Who are you? Let me. Okay. Who you got? So the pickup line leads to the first drink or the first 15 minutes. If that goes well, you should ask for, let's go get coffee or something low stakes, low investment from the other person, right? I clicked on their profile. Maybe I'll scroll and watch a few videos. And then after a while, the goal of watching the videos would get you to go, you know what? This is good. I don't want to miss this. So I'm going to save this phone number or make an appointment to see this person again and have a date. And then after a while, if I'm like, you know what? And I ever run into an ideal client for the games gods, how would you not suggest them? Because you're like, you know what? I watch these guys every day and they put the videos and it sounds like just go, you know what? Go download their guide or go follow them yourself. So this was a really, really stupidly simple example of earning attention and rapport. And I think that because we're healthcare providers, we overlook it.
And you're mentioning, not that we have like the biggest audience ever, but you're mentioning it right now. Like we talk about things that are like remarkable, meaning it's worth making a remark about.
Correct.
And this is remarkable, or depending on your definition of remarkable, somewhat remarkable, because you're even bringing this up and there's folks watching live. There's folks that are going to watch or listen to this on the recording, and Gains God. What is it? Gains gods.
The gains gods.
Like they're getting free exposure because of their approach, which was a great human-based, like natural, like little, just dropping a little nugget, dropping another little nugget, not asking for anything big, not asking for anything.
No ask, not even an ask. Like some people would say, like, you need to have an ask in there. Do you? Look at the email I got this morning from a guy by the name of Seth Godin, who's written an email every day for a bajillion years, knows what he's doing. You're saying, hey, Jimmy, you've got a decent sized audience. Everybody does now. Everybody does. So Seth was getting at the fact that 65 million people have uploaded a video to YouTube. In 1980, there were 8 movie studios producing mass market movies. Now there are kids doing, Dreamweaver or whatever programs make movies. I don't know how to make, crazy cool videos. More than 10 million people have uploaded a song to Spotify this year. I worked in radio. There wasn't a chance in hell that you were getting your song to a record company. I mean, you could. There's just going to be in a box at the front desk. The barrier to entry, and I've said this before in front of people, especially healthcare providers, and they're like, I don't understand. The barrier to entry, the distance between you and your ideal patient or client or audience is the thickness of the glass in your cell phone. And if you are too lazy to tap on it, if you don't knock, they're not going to show up. So get over yourself. So, and it doesn't need to be these ways. Like I said, Tony is like, I'm never going to go to the Better Business Bureau and shake hands and hand out business cards. Good, don't. But understand what you are comfortable with and then do that. You had an idea too for Tony, which you shared it with me. The graphic. Should I bring that up?
I want you real quick. I wanted Tony on this, but he's busy this whole week. This is a great topic. This thing just happened in my neighborhood on Sunday. Pizza Wars.
Can we bring up the graphic?
This is let's bring up the graphic. This is a marketing idea for your physical therapy practice, your company. It doesn't matter, PT, OT, SLP. Okay, so this just happened on Sunday in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. There were 12 different pizzerias. You pay $36. I didn't do it, but I think I'd have to have a big appetite to actually make 36 or $40 worth of pizza.
A lot.
You pay $36 and you can go to all 12 places, all 12 pizzerias that are all walkable. They're on 3rd Ave, 4th Ave, 5th Ave in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. You pay $36, you get a wristband or whatever. Um, you walk around, you eat pizza from any of these places, you get one plain slice from any of these places, and then you vote on who's the best pizza place. Also, a couple things, because it was the 3rd of May. It was the whole Star Wars theme, like I'm sorry, it was May 4th. May the 4th be with you. So it was on May 4th on this
Pizza Wars
this past Sunday. So a little bit of, so it was, we talk about technology a lot. We talk about marketing and we talk about like digital ads sometimes. This is obviously the physical world. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, I thought, could there be, about all these pizza places, it was all organized by the Fifth Avenue Business Improvement District or whatever. And it included, Justin Brandon and other politicians, and there's other logos. There's other people that like help make this and make this graphic and support and actually bring this thing to life. But I was thinking, could there be therapy wars? Could there be pain wars? Could there be health wars? Could there be something where we have patients walk around from, concierge pain relief? We don't have an office here in Bay Ridge, but there's Sarika Physical Therapy, there's Game Changer, there's one-on-one or JAG, there's professional PT, there's Spear now in the area, there's PT of the City, there's a place called TLC Physical Therapy, Millennium. I mean, there's at least 12 physical therapy places nearby. It's not going to have the same ring because pizza, you hear Pizza Wars and you understand it. It's like if Jimmy McKay and Tony Maritato were coming to Bay Ridge this past Sunday, we would have done Pizza Wars. It would have been like, you get to see all the places, we get to walk around, we would have had a great time. But all these pizza places got a whole bunch of eyeballs on their businesses. They got more foot traffic. There was multiple places on Facebook, on the Bay Ridge Facebook groups, where they were saying, people were posting, why is there such a big line at Gino's today? What's going on?
Yeah.
Why is there such a big line at Pepino's and Firefly Pizza? Like, why is there like a line out the door? There's never a line out the door at this place or whatever. And then people are arguing in the comments of like, no, like Elegante Pizza is the best. No, Vesuvio's Pizza is the best. This and that. I know this is a lot easier with pizza. Could there be a community-based, so all the physical therapy, maybe chiro, maybe massage, whatever, we all team up together and we say, hey, we're going to try to, we'll get people to opt in, their name, their phone number, their email. With their permission, we're going to share all their contact information, which doesn't happen with these pizza places because they don't care about leads. They don't care about actual customer. They just sell slices and they knew people are going to walk by and get, pizza. Could this work, Jimmy, up near
Yes.
you? Could this work back when you used to live in the Upper West Side, I think? How could we make this work as a community-based thing? We got to name it. I threw out some names: Pain Wars, Physical Therapy Wars is kind of long, Health Wars, which kind of sounds weird. Tony probably would say this is like a weird idea and he wouldn't want to do it. But
No,
how could this approach be used for therapy practices?
So I would take all the idea and I would just change the name. I don't think it would be wars. I think it would be more of a scavenger.
Okay.
This is scavenger hunt, right? The healthcare providers in your neighborhood are subjectively good or bad, just like pizza places. Like I liked Freddie and Pepper's on 74th and Amsterdam. That was the best pizza in the city. And it was around the corner from Levain Bakery, so you could get a cookie the size of your head. And I was like, boom, boom, I'm done for the night. Now, there's 50 bajillion pizza places in the city. Are any of them bad? Not if you're in New York. No, most of them are good. But they're not really your competition because some people like yours better than others for no other reason that they just like it. So could you combine forces with people that are your competition? So I don't like this idea anymore. I love this idea. I want someone, a group of someones to come in and be like, we did this and here's how we did it. So as you were talking about this, so let me see if I can reframe. You paid $36 and then you could go to any of those pizza places and get a slice for a whole day.
Yeah.
If I now think this is not an expensive proposition, this is cheap. This is if you're a family This is your whole day. Or if you have friends in
Well,
town,
no,
we're gonna walk.
it's probably $36 per person or per adult though.
Yeah. In New York, though, I mean, that's a meal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now there's the element of this is why breweries have beer flights. I'm gonna be, sophisticated. I want to try a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I would say to make this work for healthcare, I'm thinking about
It always goes back to beer. Always goes back to beer with you.
It goes back to beer. Well, yeah. So I'm thinking about in my hometown, and so I can answer on behalf of Tony, I think anyway, or at least slanted towards Tony, because I'm not in a big city right now. I'm a little upstate New York City, and I've got my buddy John DeNoyles at Resolve Physical Therapy, and he just built like a recovery room, like a very rehab to perform me, Josh Funk vibe recovery room, red light, compression. How do you get them in? You actually combine efforts with the massage place down the street, the chiropractor.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Gold's Gym.
I want to break down right now. So your buddy's place, and if there's 3, 4, 5 other places nearby, we create a name for it. Whatever they agree to the name is, we got to think of a price with the prospective client's permission.
Mm-hmm.
All the practices get to share Jimmy, McKay, his phone number, his email. Everyone gets to get the lead information so that they can all contact you later. And you have to pay what price? And then you and we get to go to PT in the park. Okay, PT in the park.
That's cool. I'm thinking in this area of where I live, there's 2 things that are big. One is hiking. So it could be like a hike or a trail, right? Health trail, exercise trail, or we have a lot of wineries up here too. So it's a tour. It always goes back to alcohol, but they do wine tours up here where you like rent a limo for the day and they bring you to 6 and like, don't worry about it. We provide food and we'll bring you from place to place. You don't have to worry about it. Originally I was going to say, make it free, but I don't want to make it free. I want people to pay for a little bit, but then I want to sprinkle in some love, which is, hey, if they're paying and now there's a little bit of money to work with, give them something. You could give them a free, recovery room session or a physical object, a t-shirt, something. So even if this is your rotisserie chicken at Costco, you make no money on this, but you break even or even lose a little bit of money, right? You still had people. This is even better than just clicking your website. They stood in your facility. This is not what I felt. You walk into John's Resolve Physical Therapy. This is not what you think of. There are no beige walls. He's got squat racks and he's got big heavy weights and he's got the stuff that you feel like, oh, what's physical therapy? I didn't realize this was physical therapy. I don't know if John can pay for that, right? Besides doing something like this. So maybe like a card that you get stamped and when you get them all, you're entered to win the grand prize, which is something awesome from all 5 or 6 stops on the tour. This is a pub crawl.
An iPad or whatever.
Right. Bars realized this a long time ago. People don't love one bar. They'll check out bunches of bars. Look, I got beer at that bar. I got beer at that bar. Yeah. But you don't go for the beer or the vodka. You go for the vibe. You go for the ambiance or whatever. So Scott loves the idea. So I think you try it. I don't think you make it too complicated. 5 maybe organizations. Make them varied. It could be 2 PT clinics if they're different, and even better. Like how great would that be? Right?
Yep.
My second idea was something we did, and I've got like 85% of the idea. Maybe you or someone watching can help me bring it home. In Northeast Pennsylvania, when I worked in radio, we had a radio group. There was always like a Coke and a Pepsi. So there were 2 radio groups, 2 newspaper groups, and 2 TV groups, right? And we all had it was Access and Allies, right? Alliances, right? So we paired with our TV group. They wanted to do this thing called the $1 Million Meltdown, where they said in 5 years, Northeast PA is going to get healthy and we're going to lose $1 million together. So then the goal of the TV spots where they were always sharing like health tips or visit this physical therapist or whatever, get checked up. And the idea was you'd log into their website, boom, they already won the minute you made an account, to log how much weight you were losing, right? And then you could share how you did it. And it felt like it felt very gamified. So the radio station would play the promos and we had stuff on our website and we'd have our DJs get into, videos, but we'd put our own spin on them, right? We were doing crowd surfing, right? Push-ups or something like ridiculous like that, but to put our own spin on it. I feel like if you make it a thing, nobody loses. I know that you think that the person who has a PT clinic down the street is your enemy. Dave just riffed off, like you obviously know them and you know what they're
Yep.
good at and
Yep.
what they're not good at. And hopefully they know what you're good at
Yep.
and what you're not good at. So I don't think they're your enemy. I think Pizza Wars is a great idea.
And ultimately, the consumer, the neighborhood family or individual that's going to bounce around to all these therapy offices, chiro, massage, whatever, they're going to check out all the spaces. They're going to check out all the offices. They're going to meet some of the team from all the places, right? And guess what'll happen? Whoever is the best, that has the cleanest place, like the nice design, the welcoming people, the warm atmosphere, the best follow-ups on text and email and touching base and maybe sending them mailers or whatever. Whoever does all that the best wins that person and takes that resident and turns them into a patient client potentially for a couple months or a couple years or lifetime, because it's all about lifetime value and exchanging like the value exchange of their dollar for whatever they get. And whoever does all that the best can potentially win those new patients and clients in perpetuity, as long as they're great, as long as they have a valuable offering.
I'm trying to think of the timing. Would you do it? Because where I am, like you're not walking around in a weekend. You can't. This needs to be like a week or two, like health week.
So I'm glad you brought this up, and I was already thinking of timing. So obviously May is good because it's like spring. It's like it was nice out, but it could be rainy, it could be nice. It's not going to be it's not going to be crazy hot. It's not going to be very cold. I thought because they did the by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it. They were doing the Star Wars, like May the 4th be with you, and they also said wear your Jedi robes and your Sith capes and wear your costumes for Star Wars, which I don't have any Star Wars costumes, but there were people doing that. So that made me think of what are the other things, and when are physical therapy practices the slowest? And this is not great timing. This is not always great timing because it's hot and because people are traveling, families are traveling, but physical therapy practices are the slowest in July and August, especially August. So what if you did Christmas in July? But then again, it's pros and cons, it's trade-offs, because there's some people that are traveling, there's some people that are away, or it's going to be crazy hot. It could be 92, 95 degrees here in Brooklyn in July. You could do Christmas in July. We bounce around to all these physical therapy practices. That's the scavenger hunt, whatever it is. You give gifts, you wear your Santa costumes, you wear your, elf costumes, whatever, but it's going to be hot. So you're probably not going to want to. I was just throwing that out as a potential reason to have it. But then, ideally, it would probably be better for like September or something. I don't know.
Well, let's change what I was asking. So this was one day, and you were saying this was one neighborhood. So the whole thing was walkable, right? So
Correct.
What I'm asking is like, would you do this if you were going to do the health trail, the town of Montgomery or the Orange County health trail? Ooh, maybe expand it a little bit bigger where I am, make it countywide, because then you could get things like batting cages or facilities like that, CrossFit, whatever. Another angle, there's an Instagram account I think called Battle Bus. This dude just drives around to parking lots outside gyms or like at 5Ks, and he's got a pull-up bar mounted in the back like socket of his van, and he just takes videos of people doing pull-ups, and that's his whole Instagram account, because some people do a lot and some people don't, whatever. Like, I like that angle of making it a challenge. So there needs to be a challenge at each thing. You need to have, it's almost like when you go to like a lake at like a public park, and they've got that whole loop around the lake, and every couple hundred yards there's like an exercise station. Be the station. What am I coming here for? It's not to check out your space. No one wants to check out your PT clinic. They want a purpose for them. So my question, my next question, going back to when, would you do this over a weekend? Would you do this over a week? Would this be month wide? Because if it's too long, I feel like it's too ambiguous. If it's too short, the window might open and close too fast. Or do you do it once a month, the first Tuesday? I don't know.
Maybe a weekend, maybe Saturday, Sunday, maybe Friday through Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah,
the thing good. With the different places and little mini challenges, golf driving range is one that you could objectively see, like, can I hit it a certain distance? A batting cage, you could just set up like a short temporary wall, and like you just got to hit it over the wall. If you're at a physical therapy office, I think it's a little bit more challenging. I don't know. Do you do something like boring, like planks? Like how long can you hold a plank, or can you hold a plank for a minute or something?
So
or
what about
seconds?
choose your own adventure? I think I talked about the combine idea, where like if you wanted to treat volleyball players, create 5 objective tests that volleyball players should be good at, and then test them and then chart them and then rank them and make it like a combine. So maybe it could be like you walk in like, who are you? I'm a swimmer. All right. So it's going to be something overhead, right? Or I'm a runner. All right. It's going to be in dirt, whatever. How fast can you run a trail? I don't know. This is where you have to be creative and actually think from their point of view, because this is hard. What's too easy and too cheesy? Don't do that. What's too impossible? I'm never even going to start. Don't do that. You got to find that Goldilocks, that middle.
Yeah. I love it. What else? What did we not cover? We talked about like potential approaches and timelines and what do they get out of it. I didn't even think of a scavenger hunt or a hike or, those are the things you brought to the table. So thank you for that. I love that. What else are we missing other than the name?
The name. Yeah. I mean, personalize it to your area. This is where like being location based, like Orange County Health Tour or something like that, that where I think is being good because it feels like it's local. My former professor in Pete,
scavenger hunt, health hunt.
Yeah, this is personal though. Scavenger hunts, I don't like them. I like challenges. Like, you know what I mean?
Challenge?
Like, I'd rather go on a challenge than a hunt. Like, because I know it's cheesy, and when you do it at conferences, like, go get your badge stamped and everything. I don't get any. I'm like, I'm out. I'm not playing your silly game. But if it was like when I was at conference with Blaze Pods and they had a dry erase board and we were doing everybody was doing the same Blaze Pods challenge, and I wanted to see if I could beat the score, I did that. Like, because that was I felt like I had effort versus just show up and get your badge stamped. I'm like, no, I don't like that. That's corny. Yeah, but I get the reason why. But that's what I mean about being a little lazy. Well, it's a scavenger hunt. Just come stop in our office and get your badge stamped. No, you got to give me a reason to get there. And getting my badge stamped helps you, not me. So, but yeah, if I want to try out your new Normatec boots, or I want to try out your new Blaze Pods, you're a baseball player. Oh, look, it's May. Check out your reaction time. We've got our Blaze Pod wall. Come and see where you stack up against everybody in Orange County. Like, that is different. I might just be like, I'll try that. I want to see where do I stack up. I'll give you one more twist. I was like kid swim coach in PT school because one of my professors was like tied to the swim team. They were called the Holy Mackerels. Talk about a team that understood the assignment. Everyone's going to be the Sharks or the Whales or the whatever, Barracudas. They were the Holy Mackerels. Best swag in Northern Virginia swimming. To do a fundraiser, she would do probably a 2-hour window, amazing race challenge. So now it's not a scavenger hunt. She would sit at the final destination, which was the pool, right? And then all the teams, she'd have all their phone numbers on ready to go, and she'd text the clues out to them. Now, to make sure that they got and did the clue, they had to take a picture of them at the location. The answer was a historical location somewhere around the area. So they would submit their answer. They would drive to that location and do it. There were challenges along the way, like video yourself shooting 3 free throws in a row, and we'll take off 5 minutes of your time. And then ultimately, whoever could achieve getting back, you gamify it. I know it's hard, but getting people to pay attention and spend time, the low-hanging fruit's been done, right? The easy stuff's been done. Hanging a sign outside your facility is done. CJ agrees with me. Incentivize. Leaderboards, incentives. It's about recognition. Yeah, it's about recognition. Dude, we're big, dumb animals. We like to see where we are. As kids, you watch kids run 100 yards and look at each other.
Based off of what CJ just said, and you were just saying a minute or two ago about you like to do the challenge instead of the badge scanning, I agree. I'm the same way. What percentage of the population is that way? 'Cause you and I'm very competitive. I think you're somewhat competitive in terms of you want to challenge. You wanted to do the Blaze Pod thing, but not do the passive, like, I'm going to go around, scan my badge. Plus you scan my badge and it gives you probably my contact information. Then you're going to like send me emails later. So yeah, it's a participation trophy. I just showed up, whatever. What percentage of the population, and maybe a therapy practice doing this approach, that's who they're looking for. They're looking for active individuals, not passive patients and clients.
Listen, if you aren't here to do the 60-second squat challenge, you're going to hate PT. Like, and I'm not going to spend my time on you. I'm not going to spend my time convincing you to like the thing that I'm really good at. Look what Pizza Wars did. We're big weirdos. We're dressing up like Wookiees and eating pizza. And that filters out 99.9% of the population, except in a place like Manhattan, or Brooklyn, you can pull that off because there's lots of people. So 1% or 0.1% is a lot of people. So this is where if you make it for everyone, you make it for no one. Like that's where I think a lot of like conferences strike out, where they're like, just come scan your badge at these 5 locations and you might win a prize. Oh, when I see everybody zigging, I zag. I think a lot of people are like I get what you're doing. It's cool, but I'm not into it because it doesn't feel like it's real. It's fake. But if you make it a real challenge, I like that angle. And if the things are good, I don't know, man. I'm thinking massage places too. They want to get in on the action, right? They've got something. I don't like. Does it need to be completely related to the place, like the massage challenge? Like, how relaxed can you get in 28 minutes? Like, no, but it could be something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's finding the ideal client or customer in your neighborhood to come step foot into your place. That's the whole point. Then after that, it's up to you.
Correct. But you have to meet that threshold. You have to meet a minimum threshold of like, is that worth me walking or driving there and spending 20 minutes and a little bit of like, I know, like I'm pretty outgoing, but I'm like, I'm going to walk in there like, hi, I'm here for the health tour. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to walk in, like, make sure it's clear. Like, this is where like investing, because okay, now let's go objectively. If and you should know some of these numbers, although these numbers might be new, for every 100 people that walk in cold, how many do you get to a completed plan of care? If that's your thing, if 100 people walk in your massage spa, 100 walk in, how many do you get do walk out with a package? Like, I don't know, are you tracking that number? Because if you can, you're like, we're good at conversions. And if you are, then you need 1,000 people to walk in your door. So this is the way. It's give people a reason. Existing and having a clinic and having a physical space is not reason enough to get me to walk in and check you out. I'm very sorry. I know it feels like a lot of effort on your part, but it's not.
Love it. Any either continuation or new topic for the next 14, 15 minutes? What do you got? Anything else?
The only thing I would say is I was asking you a question as a practice owner, and this is like completely self-serving because it has to do with my job. But I mean, I'm honestly curious. So if you're a practice owner, number one, I asked a question on LinkedIn, how often are you doing like a financial assessment? And most people, what do you think the results would be? Like, I was like, never, rarely, sometimes, often.
Well, are therapy practice owners actually going to answer that question honestly when they do a LinkedIn poll or not? Because
it's the internet.
What they might say is yearly. What they might say is annually when they speak to their accountant. But the real answer is going to be never.
A lot of people were putting sometimes. That was the most. So it's like never.
No.
Oh, sorry. Rarely. It was rarely. A lot of people were. So it's never, rarely, sometimes, often. A lot of people put rarely. And I was like, okay.
So then that is absolutely,
because that's a safe way of being like, I'm not saying I do it all the time. Like, how often do you work out? Every single day? It's like, sometimes, rarely, 3 times a week, rarely. Then my question was, if someone offered for free, because we offer this for free to Athelas, should we not be offering it for free? Should it be $250? So it feels like it's something. We offer access to a financial analyst who will review your last 2 years of finances. And they're a specific financial analyst in this area. Like, they look at practices of all types. And we have a bunch of data that we can benchmark you against people that are like you. Similar setting, similar size, similar revenue. And then you can see where you stack up. We had one practice who was at, I don't want to say too many statistics because Jimmy's bad at keeping secrets, but they were well below average on 2 different categories. And the thing was, it's like, we can tell you you're below average. We don't know where, unless we dive in a little deeper, we don't know where the leak is coming from. But that's important information to know. And the final thing I'll say is, usually if people are at least open to doing a financial analysis, they know that they have a problem. They're just nervous about like, God, if I undo this can of worms, man, I'm going to have to go all in. So my question would be, is this, financial look-see here, is that valuable to someone if it was done well for free? I mean, there is effort. You got to give them access and yada, 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 but.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, you guys are using this for lead generation to
100%.
get potential candidates to sign up for Athelas. So
correct.
It's a loss leader, and then you're going to convert however many to switch to Athelas. So you guys can map that out, and you probably should, because you want to have a wide open net at the top. So you want to probably offer that for free, or you charge something just to improve show up rates, like when they book the actual assessment, or maybe they have to like speak to someone to qualify for the assessment. There's a
Yeah.
couple like potential checkpoints there either way to like qualify to make sure, are they legit? Are they serious? And are you actually going to show up? Because there with some of this, there's like AEs, like account executive, and there's like what is it, the business development person that can
SDR.
close the account or whatever, SDR. So sales development rep. So it depends on like that flow of like from whatever you want to call this, like demo or assessment to
Financial health assessment.
financial health assessment, and then they got to fully switch. Like, yeah, that's why there's like multiple touch points. So I would say
So
you probably want to have it free on the front end.
my question to you is, what would you need to see, or what words or image might you see as you're scrolling by? Or if you're at a conference and you never met me, but I was like, yeah, we do this for practices where we just bust. This is bar rescue. Like the line in bar rescue is, this bar has agreed to, open their doors and bust open their books. It's like, we need to see the insides if you want success. And this doesn't mean, on bar rescue, they're always like, we're 6 months away from closing because we're doing so poorly. This doesn't need to mean that. It's like, we want to expand, but we can't get past this plateau. Can't figure out why. Well, it's people, as according to Marcus Lemonis, it's people, product, process. This could just be a process problem, but it's uncomfortable because it's money. Let's look into this money. It's like, feels a little shady. Because as soon as you do it, you're like, oh, now look, warts and all, here I am. Most of the time people know that there's a problem. I'm speaking from experience. And we're just like, I'll look at that later. But the longer you wait with a financial issue, the deeper the boat sinks. So I'm trying to figure that out. We have pretty good conversion rates most of the time because the right people show up. Like I look at them, I look at them deep in their eyes, but on a Zoom screen. And I say, like, you knew this was a problem, I'm guessing. And they're like, yeah. Like now we're getting to the emotion of it. Like, yeah, I did. I didn't know where to start. And I go, that's what we're here for. Like, you say hire a physical therapist. I know there's a problem with my hip. I just didn't know where to start. You're like, that's what I'm here for. That's what a financial analyst is like. You sat around. I know you were scared. The funny thing is, it's usually, not all the time, but usually not as bad as they originally thought. And that's the case with most things too, right? The big scary monster under the bed is bigger and scarier because you let them live there long enough in the dark that in your mind they got bigger and scarier.
So I'll give you my reason as to why I started using an outsourced out-of-network insurance billing company that takes 10%.
Got it.
And charges $250 per month for their custom in-house electronic medical record that is actually like, it's terrible. Like it looks like Craigslist, but yeah, it looks like Craigslist. You have to pay $250 a month for it. They take 10% of overall billing and collections. Why would any physical therapist ever sign up for that? Here's why. Because some of the out-of-network insurance payers pay $250, $350, $450, $450 per visit for a 60-minute visit, where once the individual, the insurance beneficiary, the patient, once they hit their out-of-network deductible, whatever that might be, sometimes it's $500 or $1,000, sometimes it's 10 grand and they're never going to hit it. So it depends on the plans. Every single plan is different. But this insurance biller only bills for physical therapy practices that do out-of-network insurances. So he does not do anything in-network. He does not do Medicare. Obviously, he doesn't do Medicaid. He doesn't do like 1199 and any of these others that are the in-network plans only. He bills out-of-network plans only. But once the individual hits their out-of-network deductible, their cost per visit sometimes, or oftentimes, can drop down to their in-network copay. So if Jimmy's got $1,000 deductible for out-of-network insurance and he's got Cigna, and we say, Jimmy, it's going to be $200 for the first 5 visits. And then on the 6th visit, it's going to be your in-network copay. You look at your insurance card. If your in-network copay is $30 on the 6th visit, your cost per visit is just $30. And the same thing, $30 onward for the rest of that calendar year. So once they hit the out-of-network deductible, then they can actually, in terms of cost and accessibility, your cost per visit is going to be the same as if you were going down the street to the mill that is treating 3, 4, 5 patients per hour at that busy office that you said you didn't like. So that's why we switched. I heard from friends and colleagues that were using this billing company, telling me exactly that. They're like, this company, McKinsey, Google patients that work at Google and LinkedIn, all these bigger companies, it pays well, it pays 200 something bucks per visit, whatever. And I heard all this, and that's why I started using them. Like I didn't switch. Now you're speaking with practice owners that are going to switch from WebPT or some other, EMR to Athelas potentially. Those are the things that did it for me. It was like, when I had friends and colleagues where I knew they're showing me like EOBs, or they're showing me like, here's exactly what some of these plans can pay.
Right.
Which is more than what some cash pay, self-pay practice owners can charge in most major metros out of pocket, like truly out of pocket. Does that make sense? Like why that was so appealing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to be clear, you don't have to switch EMRs with what we do. So we're just doing purely finances, and we have some people who just come for the financial.
Oh, my bad. I thought Athelas was an EMR as well.
We have one. You don't have to use it. It's like Apple. You have an iPhone doesn't mean you have to have a MacBook. You can. You don't have to.
What if I sign up for Athelas or someone else sign up for it? You just take a percentage of the savings, or what?
Percentage of what you get back from insurance. So skin in the game. Yeah.
So if I'm not getting back, let's say I'm not getting back. Let's say I'm using WebPT, but I'm not. Let's say I'm using WebPT just to knock on them briefly. And Athelas plugs in, we do the financial assessment, and then let's say potentially you guys say, oh, well, based off of everything you're doing, if you don't change anything else, if you don't change your coding, your billing, your documentation, whatever, you're missing out on 18% difference. Right. And you're going to take a percentage of that 18%?
No, we take just like most billing organizations, we take a percentage of everything billed from the relationship forward. So you
so
pay.
But you're gonna now be my biller as well, though. You're correct. Because if I'm doing WebPT and Therabill, because they bought Therabill, so if I'm using Therabill, I no longer use Therabill. I have to use Athelas for my billing and my revenue cycle management.
Cameron, right? Correct. So you can use any EMR you want. I shouldn't say any EMR you want. For May the 4th. Beware of absolutes.
Is Cameron's on your team? He's at Athelas?
Cameron is one of the newest members on our team. I'm going to get him on the podcast. This guy, it comes from a different part of healthcare. Dude's wild.
Okay.
But he's saying what platform you grow into versus out of, which is we see some people who are like, listen, we could save you this based on our analysis, right? We're not trying to, we can only make suggestions, not decisions. But the idea is there's some people who are like, listen, we're only going to be able to save you 3% or a little bit. We can give a number, but it's the ease and the simplicity to get there. So that's sort of what we, I'm using air quotes on a podcast, what we sell, which is we might be right there with what another RCM platform is doing, but it's less work and time on your team's part, which is a hidden cost savings. I mean, I talk to so many office managers, and like once the owner isn't on the call or just away from it, they're like, I'm so frustrated with this thing. This thing is such a pain. And a lot of times it's the office manager who's actually driving the bus on this because they are the ones that have to interact with it. And they're like, this thing sucks. It takes up so much of my time. Smart owners understand that their office manager is sucking up too much time, getting one thing paid. Hey, we got that $100. Oh, great. Took me 6 hours. Oh, this is why insurance companies do this, because they know people aren't dumb. They're big dumb animals, but they're not stupid with their own time and effort. So it's like, even if we didn't save you any money, right? Even if it was the same, it's the simplicity. And that's what you try to sell with. That's why I always have my B2C value pyramid, right? You sell simplicity or reduces effort or avoids hassles. It doesn't always have to reduce cost. Sometimes it does, but if you can get to that deeper thing. So that's why I brought this up. This wasn't to do just a pitch. It was, what do owners need to see, not to get them to switch to Athelas. That's getting married. That's too far down the line. It's a big commitment. Just to go on that first date and like, listen, let us plug into your EMR. Let us do the health assessment. We'll do it for free. If you like what you see, we'll go on the second date. If you don't, hey, shake hands. We're going to go date someone else. Keep using dating analogies. So that's my question, is like, I want to know what what practice owners actually care about, like, and what words to use. I want to use their words. So that's sort of what I'm thinking about.
Before parting shots, I think it's a travesty that Jimmy McKay does not get paid per word when he mentions Athelas. So the CEO of Athelas, every time, I mean, Jimmy's got a huge following, an immense amount of trust for 10 plus years of doing this. Plus, this goes out to PT Pintcast. Plus, this goes out to Learn Medicare Billing. He deserves a dollar amount per time he mentions Athelas in a positive light. And obviously, it's always mentioned in a positive light.
Listen, I appreciate that. I want to get someone from Athelas on the show. Like, these people have varied backgrounds. This is one of our board members. This was not me planning saying this, but this guy Hamant just wrote this book Unscaled. You and Tony, if we ever did book club, which I don't know. I'm a little bit of a reader, but this guy's on our board. And the cool part was this is how AI and the new generation of upstarts are creating the economy of the future. This was written a few years ago, but because I learned about Hamant when I started with Athelas, I went and read it. So it's from a few years ago. Cool part is, it's like I'm opening up envelopes that he sealed a few years ago, and like 68% of what he said was going to happen did. That's where you're like, okay, this guy knows what's going on. Yeah. So maybe I'll get paid by the word. Daniel.
There we go. I would love it.
He knows I talk a lot.
As a capitalist, I want to see it happen.
All right, let's do parting shots.
We'll go parting shot. Going back to the pizza wars, just that's the way my brain thinks is like how could we do a new promotion? How could we do something, new marketing, new approach to getting in front of more patients and clients and consumers and nearby residents? That's the way, like, I'm always thinking, like, I'm always interested in like how other businesses are advertising and like, why do they wrap their vans and trucks in a certain color, or, does that work, or does it not work? Or how many times you walk by a business and there's like a QR code, and I'm thinking of how many times was that QR code scanned? Like, that's the way my brain thinks. So hopefully this was just me throwing this out. You barely had any heads up about this, the pizza wars. I wanted to make sure it was right before the show. I sent the screenshot for a marketing idea, and you took it and ran with it. So I think it was a good one for the audience, and hopefully they got some value out of it.
Yeah, that's why, we could have called this whole episode "Steal This Strategy," right? And that's what I want my segment to be, because that's what I'm doing. That's what you should be doing. And it doesn't need to just be marketing. It's like, why is this workflow? Why does this why is McDonald's so efficient? Well, they understand their workflow. What could I steal from that, or learn? Learning is another word for stealing, knowledge, and take this and run with it in my own business. Now, here's the hard part too, is this is where Tony might chime in and say, if you're treating 60% of the time and you're a business owner 40% of the time, you're doing neither of those things 100% of the time. And that's when things get hard. But smart people would understand to delegate. And I forget who is just doing this. I think it was Will Humphreys. He said, don't just delegate tasks, delegate authority to make those decisions. Quick example, Zappos is the Amazon of shoes online. The CEO of Zappos years ago realized that all of his employees were coming to him because the procedure was, if someone needed a refund, he had to approve it. And finally, he was like, I'm approving all these things. Listen, I'm just going to give you the authority. If it's less than $1,000, make people happy. Your goal is, your duty is make people happy. If it's more than $1,000, come to me or go to your manager. If it's less, make them happy, and then explain to me, just here, I did this and here's why, and here's what happened. Give them authority. So a business owner, I'm very sorry to have to tell you this. You are the authority on how you will communicate, market, and develop your business. No one's coming for you to help you, unless you ask, and they're only showing up unless you give them something of value. We'll be back on Thursday. Tony will still be on chaperone duty, but we'll get him in DMs and we'll think of some really good topics. And if you have some, send them to us. What do you got, Dave?
We need more topics. We just need more topics between now and then. And we'll get them. We'll send them to each other and DM. We got it.
All right. We'll see you on Thursday. Check out the Dave Kittle Show, Learn Medicare Billing, and PT Pintcast. May the 6th be with you. I don't know. That doesn't